And joining me now is Scott from Truth Sentinel. How are you, my friend?
Hello, Michael. Very well. Yes, feeling pretty good. It's a Sunday morning over here in Thailand. I say morning. It's actually 12:30, but that's kind of my morning.
That's morning for me too.
Yeah, I'm not an early riser. In fact, I can't even understand people who do get up at like 5 a.m. They seem like a different breed of person to me.
They don't even seem alive to me.
Are they alive? That's the question. Maybe that could be the topic of today's show. Are we living amongst an alien species?
We might be. I mean, I still think about 70 to about 85% of humanity is somehow, some way brainwashed to a certain degree. They're kind of like, they're rolling around getting by life with the headlights on, but no one's home.
I totally agree with you. I think you're onto something there.
It's a little weird, right?
This has become clearer and clearer over the years, I think, especially now.
Yes, sir. And we'll jump right into that in a moment here. But before we begin, I've known about you since about 2016. I completely forgot that, I could have easily just brought you on. But the only reason I even remembered that you were around, Scott, and I have to be honest, is because of Twitter. I was like, oh my God, I need to bring him back on. I forgot all about him.
That's fine. Yeah, I have been hiding out on an island in Thailand, so you can be forgiven forgetting about me because I have been trying to get away from society. That could be it.
I don't blame you for trying to get away. And my God, I have so much to ask you in regards to your location. But yeah, so much has happened since 2016. All kinds of things have changed, my friend, since then. I'm like a new guy. I'm a new person, basically.
Yeah. It really has changed. I don't know if you've ever seen Handmaid's Tale, the TV series.
It does ring a bell.
It's like a dystopian TV series set in the future when everything's been taken over by authoritarian governments.
Oh, right, yes.
I used to watch it, and there was the big shock factor with these people walking around in masks and things, and now I look outside, and it's exactly the same as the TV series. So I'm a bit confused. It's
very confusing, very, very confusing. It's very much like the movie Contagion and Outbreak. Basically, if you go back and watch the movie Outbreak, with the little monkey, the very opening scene of that movie Outbreak, you're in Fort Detrick. There's a bit of a lab leak. It kind of reminds you of what's going on, in present time.
It does indeed.
I feel fucking crazy.
Contagion.
I feel like I'm fucking insane and losing my mind.
Yeah, and maybe that's something to do with the sleep patterns changing. I was talking to you and saying about how my sleep patterns have changed recently. I seem to be slipping into going to sleep about 4 a.m. these days. And I think that's part of it. It's
Those are the best hours, though. No. Don't resist. Don't fight it, Scott. Those are the best hours, All kinds of magical things happen at those hours, especially if you're writing, you got the juices flowing. I mean, my God, you got to take advantage of it.
I'm not so much of a writer, to be honest.
Oh, that's right. You're not.
Although I say that, but part of my job.
But you do write, though. But you do write. Yeah, Scott, come on. You do write.
Yeah, I say that. I think I'm a reluctant writer because part of my actual daytime job is sometimes helping people write. It's like to give advice on writing essays and that kind of thing.
I see.
But
yes,
I'm not patient enough to be a writer, like write a novel or anything like that.
Yeah.
I just don't have that kind of patience.
You're going to be Shakespeare.
What, just write short sonnets?
Yes, little poems.
Yeah, maybe that's it. Yeah, you could be forging out a new career for me here.
Or you might work for Hallmark gift cards.
Right, for who? Sorry.
Hallmark.
Well, Mark, okay, yeah. Well, if someone offered me a job doing that, I would certainly take it up.
It's a good job.
Work's
it's a good
hard
gig.
to come by these days.
Hell yes. And of course, you are out there in Thailand. I must ask, how on earth did you end up there? I know you weren't born there, so give us the story.
Well,
if you can.
I've always been no, I can. I've always been a traveler since an early age. That's the one thing I can really point back to my childhood and say there were signs of it even as a toddler, because I used to get all my toys as a toddler and put them in a box and then travel around the house and with packed lunches and just travel around to different parts of the house like I was traveling around the world. And then once I got old enough to be able to do it, that's what I did. So I've been to more than 50 countries, and Thailand I've come back to on occasions. It's a great place as a traveler because you can it feels so different to where you come from. If you come from, say, where I do, the UK.
The UK, yeah.
I come from the UK, from around the London area, and Thailand's very different, but at the same time, you can get everything you need here. So if you want your favorite snacks and things, you can get them in Thailand. Did you know at the moment in Thailand, as part of these restrictions, you're not allowed to this is an example of some of the crazy rules we're having regarding this pandemic. You're not allowed to have a beer or any alcohol in the privacy of your own home with another person.
Really?
This is the gospel truth. You cannot do that here in Thailand at the moment.
I had no idea.
Yeah, so you can drink alcohol on your own, but you cannot drink with another person, or at least you're not supposed to, and there's fines and possible imprisonment if you do.
Well, I mean, I understand the social distancing thing, but they clearly state you can't drink alcohol with somebody else.
Clearly state that, yeah.
Wow. Okay, now that's a little weird.
It is weird. It's not based on any kind of science, of course. Not that a lot of this is, really, but yeah, it's just one of the silly rules. But there you go.
Strange. I had no idea. And of course, for those that don't know, you have a YouTube channel, which I think you were telling me it might go down, right?
Actually, I had some good news today.
Okay.
Yeah, I had two strikes on YouTube for discussing things related to the pandemic and the election, the US election as well. That was one of the strikes. But today I submitted a what's it called?
An appeal.
Appeal, yeah. I submitted an appeal, and they came back and said, no, we're upholding this and we're deleting the video, but we're taking the strike off. I didn't quite understand that, but it's good news either way. So now I've only got one strike. So that gives me 2 more episodes where I can talk about anything I want.
Very nice. And do you remember what you were saying about the election that caused the initial strike?
I guess I was saying that there's a possibility it wasn't all above board, and that perhaps there had been some cheating going on. I was just suggesting. Of course, I don't even know if that's the case.
You were just saying the election was rigged, basically.
Oh, yeah. Yes, I was actually. Yeah, I was saying there was a possibility of it. So I don't quite understand it. It seems like you're not even allowed to entertain certain ideas.
You can't even speculate certain things.
You can't speculate. Like in the other video where I got the strike, which has now been taken off. All I said was that some people believe the virus came from China, and that was it. Apparently, that's bullying. That's bullying towards the Chinese people. So I don't get it. Yeah, it's getting a bit crazy when it comes to censorship as well.
Well, maybe you should stop bullying people, Scott.
I just do that naturally. Yeah, I don't know why I do that. I must stop.
Making people cry and making them want to cut their wrists.
Even before this show started, I was bullying you, wasn't I? Before the show started.
I was feeling bad about myself, and you were laughing.
I was just making fun of you. I'm sorry, it just happens occasionally.
Yeah, it's a natural thing.
Yeah,
that's insane. That's insane, though, that they even did that with you. To be honest, it's outlandish. But then that's what YouTube is all about right now. They are very hard pressed with censoring everyone. That's what they like to do, and obviously they have their own agenda. And, it would be useful and helpful if they actually sort of, described some of the things that they don't want you to necessarily bring up. If they were more specific, I think that would help everyone out. Everybody would sort of avoid those sort of things, Well,
I'm not sure I would avoid it, actually. Although, yeah, it's a tough one.
Well, there's ways to dance around it, though. That's what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Should we dance around it, or should we just talk normally? I don't know. It's always a tough one.
Well, this isn't going to be on YouTube, so we could say whatever we want here. It's okay.
Yeah. No, but yeah, I don't like it. I must admit, I don't like it.
You might not want to. Yeah, you might not want to put anything on this segment here on YouTube. We will get striked, by the way.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, for me, freedom of speech is literally being able to say anything you want, regardless if it's offensive or anything. At least from the point of delivery. That's not to say that I particularly like some things some people say or agree with them. I do think if you say something that's going to incite violence, then you're going to have to deal with the consequences.
Sure.
I do think we should pretty much be able to say anything we want. Of course, when it comes to being on some kind of broadcast channel, then the people who run that channel do have some say in what they consider to be acceptable, but I think it's going too far now.
A lot of people are taking it a little too far. I agree. The censorship is out of control here in America, and probably in other parts of the country. Well, other parts of the world, I'm sure there's crazy ass regulations going down, even more stricter than they already are. Of course, a lot of people out there, they don't have freedom of speech. And in the UK especially, that's going to go away really quick for them.
Yeah,
I see that happening first over there before it reaches America.
Yeah, for sure. There should be a big difference between having opinions about things and pretending to be an expert with giving facts on medical matters and things like that. If you're giving an opinion, and you're entitled to an opinion about anything, about jabs, the election,
sure,
what's happening with lockdowns. I think we should all be entitled to our opinions on that.
Yes, we should be able to talk freely about what's going on around the world. If we start disagreeing with people and wanting to, kill them because they opposed what we said, that's really the end game for a lot of these people on the left and right. Here in America, they really hate the other side so much that they are even willing to kill their opposition, Scott. That's where we're at here in America.
Yeah, I try not to kill anyone who disagrees with me.
I only do it on the weekends.
In most situations, I try not to kill them, but there's been a few, times, but we all slip up occasionally, right?
Right. Now, there's a few buried in my backyard, but I'll edit that part out.
Yeah, I would do that for sure.
Oh, yes. And by the way, you do cover plenty of topics that we like to talk about here. You probably do it a little differently than I do it. We all do it a little differently than the next guy. Mine's a bit more open in terms of, everything that we talk about here is kind of, open season. When that little red light is on, all subjects are fair game here.
Yeah, well, I tend to agree.
You're kind of like that too.
Yeah, no. I talk to anyone about anything really, regardless of their opinion, and that's the way I think it should be, and that's where freedom of speech is changing a bit. It's almost like that if you bring on a guest who's got a very unpopular opinion, you're going to be censored. Like I was talking to one of the wives of one of the top ISIS fighters, and when they appeared on terrestrial TV, on mainstream, they were shouted down instantly. But sometimes you've got to let people talk and listen to their opinions. You don't have to agree with it, but it's important to understand people. If you want, you can't change people's views just by saying they can't talk. It's better to actually talk to them.
I agree 100%. Especially,
we've had similar topics to yours. I guess we've talked about. In fact, I heard one of your episodes recently about MH370.
Ah, nice. Yes, that's a great episode there. Great information from the guest.
That was Declan Curran, I think his name was.
Yes, sir.
And I have to say, I agree with pretty much everything he said. He sounded like he's done his research.
Oh, yeah.
Some of my earlier episodes were solely based around MH370. I did a lot of research into that, and I got really. Once you get into that topic, you really start getting hooked on it. And I interviewed people here in Thailand that were kind of connected to it. I interviewed the girlfriend of one of the guys on the plane, and even went to Mauritius looking for parts of the plane.
Oh, wow.
So I got heavily involved with that one.
Yeah, you dived in.
Yeah, I did. And I came to pretty much the same conclusion as your guest. It was eventually ended up in Diego Garcia.
Yeah, Diego Garcia. And then you start seeing how all these governments, they kind of all sort of had a hand in everything, really. You could really connect the dots.
You could, and I agree with him, your guest, that Obama was involved as well. He flew over during that time when things were going on, and I singled out that I think I posted a small video with as an example of how Obama is a psychopath, because he went over there and gave a speech about how he really felt for the families and everything of MH370, and then 2 weeks later he was back in the States, and he was using it as one of his jokes.
That's what they all do. Yes, but politicians, they are all fake phonies.
Yeah, of course they are. Yeah,
their
you.
Public opinions are much different than their private ones.
They are, yeah. They're just their opinions are swayed by whatever works out best for them politically.
Oh, yes. Yes.
So like you, I don't trust any politicians.
I don't either. And it's very hard for me, too, when I talk to someone and they're very pro, whatever side they like. I have to bite my tongue a lot of times here.
Yeah, I can never quite understand when people actually, when it comes to elections and things, I've never trusted any elections anyway, so.
Well, neither have I. I mean, I still think about all the early, scams that happened going way back. I mean, look at Bush and Florida versus Gore.
Yeah, and even if you think that there's no actual rigging or direct rigging of an election, it's rigged before the election's even taken place, because if someone controls the media, they control the election, basically, because, come on, at least 80% of people get their views from the media. So if you control mainstream media, you're going to control the outcome of the election pretty much.
Oh, yeah.